सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hope all of you are doing well by God's blessings. Very happy to see all of you again for today's session. Today we are going to talk about a very interesting character in the Ramayana and who has a very unique past and how he transcended some of his obstacles in the pursuit of his goal. Yes, we are going to talk about Sage Vishvamitra. We are all familiar with this character because we already talked about him yesterday also. Sage Vishvamitra had brought Rama and Lakshmana from Ayodhya and he caused Rama to kill Tataka. And then we saw yesterday how Rama also delivered Mother Ahalya out of her curse. And all this was actually orchestrated, so to say, by the great sage Vishvamitra. The name Vishvamitra itself is interesting. He is the friend of the world. That is actually the quality of a saintly person. A real saintly person or a godly person, one who has awakened his God consciousness, never considers anybody to be his enemy. But as it is said, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future, right? Every saint has a past. This proverb very well fits sage Vishvamitra. Vishvamitra, unlike other saintly people, did not have a spiritual background, from the beginning, so to say, from the beginning of his life. Vishwamitra was a great king. He was known as Maharaj Kaushika. Once, this Maharaj Kaushika, see, in the we always keep hearing about the stories of great kings. He was a great king. When I say that, that means he was ruling his kingdom very nicely. All his citizens were quite happy with his administration, and he was following the principles given in the Vedas, which is to make sure that in the kingdom everybody is progressing both materially and spiritually. The Vedic kind of, in the Vedic understanding, progress is not unilateral. It is not simply on the material side. Progress also has to happen on the spiritual platform, which is a very special thing, unique to human form of life. So he was a good king, taking care of both the material and spiritual progress of his citizens. Once, this Maharaj Kaushika, accompanied by his many sons, his his soldiers, thousands of them, he went to a forest, and he went to the forest for a hunting excursion. We often hear this, how kings used to go to the forest to hunt. Now, there are two reasons why kings were allowed to hunt animals in the forest. The first reason being there are many saintly people situated in the forest, in the ashramas, who perform tapasya. And if there are any animals creating disturbance for such tapasya, those animals are hunted out by the king in order to give protection to the saints, the sages. The second reason being, more practical reason, is that the kings should become accustomed to fight. The kings should become accustomed to violence because any moment there could be war and they have to defend their kingdom against the attackers. Therefore, they should practice warfare. right? So because of these two reasons, kings were allowed to hunt. So Maharaj Kaushika, along with his huge army and his sons, he went to a forest to hunt animals. And there, after a long duration of hunting, he became quite tired and thirsty and hungry. And he happened to see that there was a great hermitage, a big hermitage there in the forest. He got to know that that was the hermitage of the great sage Vasishta Muni, who was living there. So he went along with his entourage. He went to the hermitage of Vasishta, and Vasishta Muni was very happy to welcome the king along with his various his army. So he said, "Please accept our hospitality, O dear king. And I don't know if I'm going to help satisfy you the way you enjoy royal opulences in your palace, but I will try my best to satisfy you with a good hospitality." Saying this, Vasishta Muni went inside his cottage, exactly to the cow shed. And in the Goshala, he had a special cow called as Kamadhenu. And this was a cow given to him by the Devatas. And the speciality of this Kamadhenu cow was that one could derive from this Kamadhenu cow whatever one desires. So Vasishta Muni went, offered his namaskara to Kamadhenu, and he requested, "Oh, my mother Kamadhenu, we have a lot of guests today. Could you please help me make arrangements for the satisfaction of these guests who have come to our ashrama?" So when Vasishta Muni prayed like this, immediately from the body of Kamadhenu, there were uh, huge quantities of food that came out. And this food was served to all the hundreds of soldiers who were accompanying Maharaj Kaushika, including himself and his sons. And there were varieties of foodstuff that is described in the Ramayana, varieties of foodstuffs produced by Kamadhenu, and Sage Vasishta nicely served all his guests with this food that was produced by Kamadhenu. And all of them were very happy. Maharaj Kaushika was particularly in astonishment. How is it possible? We gave a sudden surprise visit to you, O sage, and you are living in this forest in a hut. How was it possible for you to make quick arrangements instantly? How were you able to do this? And then Vasishta Muni said, "It is all because of the blessings of the great Kamadhenu, which I have. And because of this Kamadhenu, I was able to serve you a good meal. Hope you all enjoy." Now, immediately, this Maharaj Kaushika grows envious. He becomes envious. "I am the king of this kingdom. I don't have such a wonderful cow. Look at this Vasishta. He is, after all, a sage, a poor person living in this forest. And he has got such a wonderful cow. So I should become the proprietor of this cow. I want this cow with me. I will take it to the palace." This is how he thought. So he asked. Initially, he requested uh, the sage Vasishta, "O sage Vasishta, what will you do with this cow here? If I take the cow to my palace, all the citizens of the country will derive benefit out of this cow. So can you please send this cow along with me?" Vasishta Muni flatly refused, saying that actually this cow is given to me by the Devatas for the purpose of getting the ingredients meant for performing yajna. And I perform this yajna on a daily basis, and Kamadhenu helps me with all the required ingredients. And also, this is meant for my usage because this was given to me by the Devatas. I'm so sorry, I cannot give you this. And immediately, Maharaj Kaushika becomes very angry. When we have a desire, and the desire is not satisfied, immediately comes anger. First is kama, and from that kama comes krodha when our desire is not satisfied. So what he did was he ordered his sons to forcefully snatch Vasishta Muni of his Kamadhenu. He wanted to forcefully take that Kamadhenu with him to the palace. And at that time again Vasishta Muni prays to Kamadhenu and says, "Oh my dear Kamadhenu, I am helpless to give you protection. If you at all want to stay with me, please defend yourself." And at that time, as everyone saw to their great astonishment, innumerable soldiers equipped with all kinds of weapons started coming out from the body of Kamadhenu. And all these soldiers defeated the sons and soldiers of of Maharaj Kaushika. And all these soldiers were, the entire army was decimated in a matter of few minutes. So Kaushika Maharaj saw this helplessly. His entire army was now defeated. It was destroyed, in fact. All his sons were also killed by these soldiers who had come from Kamadhenu. Then he realized, oh, this is not an ordinary cow. Then his desire, initially his desire was to possess that cow, but now his desire changed. The envy that he had towards the possession of Vasishta Muni now changed to the envy towards the position of Vasishta. He said, "See, I am a great Kshatriya, I am a great king, I have a big kingdom. But what is the use of my kingdom? What is the use of my power? I could not protect my own people against these soldiers sent by Kamadhenu." That proves the point that real power is not physical power, real power is spiritual power. I should actually give up my kingship and I should become a Brahmarshi of the stature of Vasishta Muni. This was his desire. So for this, what did he do? He actually went to the forest, gave up his kingdom, gave it, and he actually went and started performing severe tapasya. See, this tapasya is a common thing that keeps coming again and again in Ramayana. Tapasya. If you want to achieve something big, you must be ready to sacrifice your personal comforts. So what we understand from here, even though you see Maharaj Kaushika, he was a great king, he had a big kingdom. But when he saw the greatness of this person, Vasishta Muni, his Brahminical strength, so to say, spiritual strength which he had got because of tapasya, he became very envious of Vasishta Muni. See, when do we become envious of somebody? When we compare ourselves with others, there are two situations possible. When the other person is having a greater advantage materially than us, then we become envious of that person. If we are in a greater position than others, then we become proud of our position. So both pride and envy, they're not good for us because it's not going to lead to our perfection or happiness in life. But luckily for Maharaj Kaushika, he was envious of this sage Vasishta initially, no doubt. But since he was interacting with a person who is highly spiritual, he also got a spiritual desire. I should become a Brahmarshi like this person Vasishta. So that means that is why it is said, even if somebody wants to make enmity, you have to choose even your enemies wisely, right? There is an example given that if you actually try to fight against cow dung, your whole body becomes, inflicted with bad odor. If you want to fight, please go and fight against sandalwood tree, so that at least by the touch of sandalwood tree, your body becomes fragrant. right? So we should not only choose our friends wisely, but so-called enemies or competitors also we should choose wisely. That is one learning that we get to know here. So of course, Vasishta Muni, uh, Vishwamitra Rishi went to the forest and he did tapasya, because of which he got some special weapons. He again came to the ashrama of Vasishta to show his power, the newfound weapons. And when he released his special weapons, Vishwamitra Rishi, Maharaj Kaushika was surprised because Vasishta Muni, just by his spiritual strength, he was able to counter all those special weapons. So he was defeated second time. Pride goes before a fall, we say, right? When you are envious of others, especially when we are envious of great people, we actually have to meet a very big disaster in our life, which will teach us a big life lesson, right? So again, this Kaushika went back to the forest, again did tapasya. He did Ugra tapasya, very intense tapasya he did. And, step by step, he got, Lord Brahma would come every now and then and said, "Oh, Maharaj Kaushika, now I have given you the position of Rajarshi. You're a saintly person." Okay. But he was not satisfied. So he again continued the tapasya. And after that, again, Brahma came and said, "Now I am pleased with your tapasya. Now I am promoting you to the position of Maharshi, more than Rajarshi. You are a Maharshi now, great Rishi." But Vishwamitra Rishi was not satisfied because his his thinking was, I should become equal to Brahmarshi Vasishtha. Till then, I will not stop my tapasya. Now, when he was trying to become a Brahmarshi, this time when he did tapasya, there was a obstacle for him. Indra sent an Apsara called as Menaka to entice this uh, Maharshi Vishwamitra, right? And just by hearing the tinkling of the ankle bells of Menaka, this Maharaj Kaushika or Vishwamitra's tapasya broke and he gave in to that temptation. Right here also we see we had talked about temptation when we talked about the story of Rishyashringa. So here also there is another kind of a temptation we see here. And Vishwamitra Rishi gave up his tapasya. He was so much attracted to the beauty of Menaka. He started living with him for an entire year, for many years, in fact. He lived with this Menaka. And through Menaka, he got a daughter called as Shakuntala, about whom we all must have heard. And then one day he realizes, so what have I done? My goal was to achieve Brahmarshi position. I was competing against Vasishta. Now what has happened with me? I have got carried away by worldly desires. I have forgotten my real goal. So here is one important lesson for us. The Vedic scriptures always tell us when we become envious of great personalities, that results in failure of our personal goals. We are not able to achieve our goals. Envy fills our heart with so much of contamination that we lose sight of our actual purpose of human life. We get immersed in so-called important things in our life. So we should never become envious of great persons. In fact, whenever we meet somebody who is greater than us, we should try to take inspiration from them, not to have a competitive mentality. In fact, we should try to learn from them. Oh, this person has achieved this position. Maybe he is following some good practices on a daily basis. Let me go and learn from him. What is that which is making him so successful? What is that I can learn from this person? What are his daily habits? In this way, we should approach a person who is more successful than us than to fill our heart with envy. Envy is such a negative feeling. Negative things beget only negative things in our life. We should never become envious. That is what we learn from Vishwamitra. And of course, after realizing his mistake, Vishwamitra continues to do intense tapasya again. And again, Rambha comes, another Apsara comes, and this time he becomes very angry at Rambha. So because of becoming angry and cursing Rambha, he again loses his tapashakti. Again, he realizes his mistake. Again, he does tapasya. So one thing that we learn from Vishwamitra is don't give up. There may be many setbacks, but don't give up. So finally, after intense tapasya, Lord Brahma appeared, and he also brought Vasishta Muni with him to bless Vishwamitra. And he gave, happily, I give you the position of Brahmarshi. You are Brahmarshi from today onwards. So Vasishta Muni also gave, he also accepts Vishwamitra now as a Brahmarshi. And in this way, the whole story comes to an happy ending. So the point here is, don't become envious. Instead of developing envy towards successful people, learn from them, in a humble way, approach them and learn the secrets of their success. And second thing is, don't give up. Come what may, continue to pursue your goal in life. And great things can be achieved only by sacrificing personal comforts, which is exemplified by the tapasya of Vishwamitra. And later on, Vishwamitra gives up his envious nature towards Vasishta, and we see that how both Vasishta Muni and Vishwamitra cooperate. When Vishwamitra went to Dashrath Maharaja's palace to ask Rama, when Dashrath Maharaj refused, it was Vishwamitra who actually supported the case of, Vasishta who supported the case of Vishwamitra. In this way, Lord Rama became a reason for bringing together Vasishta and Vishwamitra, who had a bitter past. What is the learning for us? We may have differences with people, but all kinds of differences can be sorted out, keeping God consciousness in the center. If our common goal is pleasing God, all kinds of differences we can overcome, and we can make friendship with all kinds of people. So that is another lesson that we learn from this incident pertaining to Vishwamitra. So let us all become God conscious so that we can win over our weaknesses like lust, anger, pride, envy, and all of these things. And to become God conscious, the easiest way is to chant the holy names of the Lord. I request all of you to please join me to chant the names of Rama and Krishna together for 11 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Ram.